speaker cards. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for you to address the City Council on any items that are not on the agenda. You'll find speaker cards in the back of the council chambers. We respectfully request that you fill the cards out completely and print as clearly as possible so that if necessary, the City Council, City Manager, or City staff will be able to get in touch with you. As much as we appreciate your request to make comments before your 3 minutes begin, please understand your time begins when your name is announced. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. If you choose to ask a question during this time, any response by council will not extend your 3 minutes. When you approach the podium, you'll see 3 lights. The green light comes on when your time begins, the yellow light comes on when you have 30 seconds remaining, and the red light comes on when your 3 minutes are up. We ask that you be considerate of the allotted time to allow other speakers to have their 3 minutes as well. Following this procedure will allow for a smooth and timely process for the meeting. State law prohibits the City Council from taking action on items not on the agenda, and your matter will be referred to the City Manager. Thank you.
Call for speaker.
Our first speaker is David Paul.
Mr. Vice Mayor and Council, Director Harvey, good evening. Tonight is my 21st wedding anniversary. I can remember being in this room when I told, and I see the faces of those that were here that night, that it was my 15th wedding anniversary. That's the advantage of getting to come to council often. Cilio said to me, well, what are you doing here? And I reminded him I have friends that are serving overseas in foreign wars and they don't get to come home for a year. So it was a small thing to contribute to the civic duty to come. I've been coming here a long time. I've taken the public comments opportunity and turned it into my own personal form of expression. I was doing it long before my 15th wedding anniversary and long before Vice Mayor Smith or anybody else was talking about cameras. It wasn't about cameras. It was about being able to show people the joy I have in interacting with the city positively and how to get the most positive results. It was a wonderful experience for me to come here and talk about my sister the day after she died. That was seen by all my relatives in Chicago. My mother, when she was alive, used to get to watch me counsel, and my family still watches me come up here and speak. But I think the main reason that we need to turn the public comments cameras back on is that when people look in here, you can hear arguing, you can hear nonsense, you can hear tension anywhere you look in life. But rarely can you find somebody that knows how to come forward and make sense and love everybody despite the differences. And just like I like to spread the joy I hope to find, I like to hear somebody that makes sense, and I don't mind listening to some of the other garbage I have to go through as long as I can find that. So I would only say this, and I know this is the mayor's decision, but I ask him for me, for the budding Tapestry Human Relations Commission we are putting together to promote diversity and give people a voice that don't have a voice. Err on the side of love and fairness. Let love win. Restore the public comments portion on video. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yay. Brian Toisney III? Toisney?
Council, I'd actually like to forego my 3 minutes at this time.
No, you're not going to get it back.
Not going to get it back here now.
Go ahead to the next speaker, please.
Michael Reeves?
Vice Mayor Smith, Council. This is one instance where we really should have the non-agenda publicized, because I'm coming up to give you some information about the sanitation district refund policy. Fortunately, earlier in the year, Vice Mayor Smith stop the increase in the sanitation fees. I was at the meeting with Mayor Medford and Vice Mayor Smith. There was no representative from the county making a third person, so they were unable to increase the fees and burden our people. However, if everybody has their tax bill this past month, you notice that other than the property taxes, your sanitation fee is the big thing on your bill, and you can request a refund or rebate. And the way it works is there's a number right by the assessment for sanitation district in Whittier. You call them up, you ask them for a rebate form, and they will mail it to you within 2 days. They're very good about it. And then you call LA County Waterworks and tell them that you want the bills for the last 4 years, because you can apply for a last 4-year rebate on this thing. And they'll probably tell you, like they did me, well, we don't have it for 4 years, we only have it for 2 years. I said, well, I'll take it, just send it. And then they called me and told me that they would mail it today. So both of these groups, the clerks in both of these outfits, will give the forms to you, sanitation district and waterworks. Just fill them out, put a 44-cent stamp on it, you mail it, and you might get some money back. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Louise Fowl.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a member of a community, a townhouse community on the east side, and we've come here before and have spoken to, in particular to Vice Mayor Ron Smith, and he'd been very helpful to get some things straightened out back then. This was several years ago. Well, we're having problems again. There are some new people in this neighborhood outside of our community that are very disruptive to our property, trespassing on our property, verbal and physical abuse, stones are being thrown at people that are at the pool, and graffiti on our signs, and this has escalated in the last year or so. We've seen across, our community is on J12 East, and the entry to it is from Challenger to J12. And on the other side, on the west side of Challenger, there's a whole bunch of new young people, teenagers and young adults that have settled there. And they are out there continually, middle of the night and so on. What we have experienced in our community itself is people coming in and destroying our property. Some people were trying to get into the pool area, and we have a wrought iron fence there, and they literally ripped off some of the parts of the fence, and so that they could go in. And when you approach them, they're young people and they're strong, and then people don't want to, confront them because there might be retaliation. So I've written a letter to you, Mr. Smith, and an email. And at the time, I think you were very involved with the race on the Grand Prix on the Boulevard. And so I wrote back to you again that maybe would you answer our concerns, that because you have been helpful before, and that's why we approached you again. And the problem is that we have a really nice community that everybody works together. It's a diverse, people, young, old, different colors and so on. And we like to keep that place as nice as it is. It's a real jewel. So thank you for your time to listen. And I have a copy of this if you would want to read it.
Okay, sorry, I'm sure I've been extremely busy.
That's why I brought you a copy.
Stuff, so
Yeah.
Let's give it to Mr. Bazzichi then, and then he'll contact you, and I'll get a copy of it to you. Thank you very much. Mr. DeRico?
Yes.
Can you?
Already aware of it, sir. I talked to their area manager at the complex a couple of weeks ago. It's an issue with a residential neighborhood that's adjacent to their complex on the north side. So we'll handle that.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Susan Plunkett.
Good evening. I also live where Louise lives, and I happen to be the president of the HOA right now, and the problems we are having have been very upsetting to many of the residents. And I have tried reaching public safety, the contact I have there, and CORE, and I have not received an email back. I've made phone calls and sent emails, and I've had no response back. And so that's upsetting because it says, you know, on the website, you know, contact public safety if, you know, contact CORE, you don't get anything back. And that's frustrating when we're trying to keep our community nice and keep the basically wannabe gangbangers that are across the street out, because we are private property. And I challenge them. I'm disabled, but I'll challenge them and say, what are you doing in here? I kicked 10 kids out of the pool one day. You know, and they started screaming at me. I was doing it because they happened to be black, and that had nothing to do with it. We're private property. They broke into the pool. They were trespassing. You know, and so it's frustrating, and we'd like some help.
Now, I know when I met with you guys about maybe 4 years ago, I think, we were talking about your community starting a neighborhood watch. Did you ever do that?
We have a neighborhood watch that's very strong. We all look out for each other.
Did you contact the officer that's in charge of your neighborhood watch?
We've tried that. We haven't gotten anywhere there. We have our own private security that's in there at night. We have had a little more response from the Sheriff's Department. We do see them every once in a while drive through there, but not very often. So, like I said, we just want some help to keep us safe and nice and not feel threatened. Because a lot of people don't go to the pool anymore because these kids come, they demand to be let in. When they're told no, as she said, they start throwing rocks, whatever. And verbal attack, and it's frightening to us older people.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Dorico, Mr. Brazilian, so we'll look into it. Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Isaac Grajeda.
Saw him here before, I didn't see him here. Okay, next speaker, please.
David Aber.
Good evening, council, staff, and citizens. Ms. Harvey, I want to apologize to you. I didn't welcome you at the last meeting, and I apologize for my rudeness. Welcome to the agency. Thank you. I want to start off by reading something to all of us. I'm sure we're familiar with it. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble, and to petition the government for redress of grievances. That brings me to my purpose here tonight. This is a copy of the Political Observer. On the front, it's censored. That has to do with what's taking place here. I know Mr. Chris has made his position in the paper, if I read it correctly, that he said let the cameras roll. So I know where Mr. Chris stands if the paper quoted him correctly, and I believe that they did. But the other three, I don't know where you stand. So I'm requesting that you put on the next agenda a vote to remove the censorship. So if the other three of you, I don't know where you stand. I think Mr. Smith was at no comment in the paper. I think that's what I saw. And I believe that this is something that should be put on the agenda. I'm petitioning for redress. And we have the right to see this. Disabled people in homes can't see it. The mayor can't stand the heat, then he should get out of the kitchen, okay? This isn't about a statement that was made with respect to a racial statement. This was as a result of the mayor not liking what he dishes out to be returned. I don't know why he's not here. Maybe he's in rehab. Maybe he's relapsed. If he does, I wish him the best. But we can no longer go forward as a community with this type of behavior and blacking out these meetings is unheard of. It's unconstitutional. And I'm requesting that 3 of you, 4 of you that are here tonight, except for Mr. Chris, I believe his position's been made, to put this on the agenda. One of you step up, put it on the agenda, and if it's a 4-to-1 vote or a 3-to-2 vote, whatever it is, I believe I have faith in the four of you that you will turn the cameras back on because we have the right to see these meetings. And I know, Mr. Smith, that when I called for the resignation of Ms. Marquez, and she resigned, and I asked you to quit trampling on people's rights of freedom of speech, and I commended you, and I commend you again. I appreciate that you realize that we do have the right to stand up here and exercise our freedom of speech. Okay? And the other issues don't have to do with you. Thank you for your time. I want to leave these for all the council members.
Thank you,
As well as
Mr.
Ms. Harvey. So I'll give them to Mr. Bodie again.
Next speaker, please.
Darlene Peterson.
How many do we have left?
Ms. Peterson is our last speaker.
Best for last, right, Darlene?
Well said.
We
Whether
take a vote on it?
intentional or not, lately I see the citizens' right to participate freely in city business, which is our business becoming hindered, what I would call strangulation of speech because of policy changes. The latest being the not televising of the entire meeting. For example, if memory serves me correctly, in the past, during the council calendar phase of the council meetings, there used to be a dialogue between the council and the citizen at the podium. Then it became downgraded. The citizen now comments on a consent calendar item only. In other words, he's talking to himself. Then we again downgraded to 1 3-minute session per citizen. No matter how many consent calendar items they wish to comment about, their time was cut down drastically. Another rule implemented was to interrupt a citizen when not on point. That rule is another gimmick, in my opinion, used to squeeze the citizen out and direct them what to say. I understand the rule regarding it, but it is being abused by the council. And sometimes I feel you would like to have a citizen submit their speeches in advance so you can edit them to your own satisfaction. Sometimes it takes a while to get up to speed and get to the point. As for a speaker looking elsewhere in the chambers while speaking, that may be an indication that the speaker is looking to see if anyone on the council chambers is alive. Because quite frankly, sometimes the council looks doubtful. If I insulted anyone tonight, it was intentional. A wake-up call is needed. Serve the citizens, not yourselves. A suggestion I would like to make is that you install a wall-to-wall mirror behind all of you, so that way when a citizen does speak, they can at least see one person who's interested in what they're saying. Thank you.
Council comments or any reports? There are no closed session items then. That being the case, Mr. Christ.
We're going to close the redevelopment agency, and it's adjourned until Tuesday, November 8th, 2011.
And I will adjourn the council meeting and all of the agencies until November 8th at the regular time, 2011.